Maga Karen candidate goes live to brag about calling ICE on the Georgia Hyundai plant, which then resulted in $4.3 billion in damages. On top of that, they have pissed off South Korea. We're going to look at her boasting about calling ICE. We're going to look at the news report, and we're going to look at people's reactions to what she has done. Everything is alleged, fair use, and trigger warning. She's triggering. Let me tell you, Karens trigger me. So if Karens trigger you to the point of things, click off now.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked. They send money home to their country. They give money to their handler. They have hardly anything left. They live in homes 5 families deep, have no quality of life. Modern day slavery. So if you think that ICE is just going in and ripping people out of their jobs, these hardworking people that want a better life, well, guess what? Politicians have really screwed these people, because when they came here, they thought they were, hey, the border's open, we're coming in, we're going to get the 5-star treatment, and we can go to the big Walmart, and we can live in a 5-star hotel, and that's just not how it is. It's very bad conditions, very inhumane, and the Biden administration started a humanitarian crisis. So y'all can't just look at it like they're ripping good people off the job. They're probably saving their lives in the long run.
Immigration agents detained more than 450 people at a Hyundai manufacturing site just west of Savannah, Georgia. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives said multiple agencies helped carry out this operation. Authorities claim it was connected to an investigation over unlawful employment practices. The 3,000-acre site has only been operational for a year.
South Korea will reportedly send a chartered flight to Atlanta as early as tomorrow to bring back hundreds of workers detained during a massive ICE raid on a Hyundai plant last week. More than 300 South Korean workers were detained during that raid, suspected of living and working in the U.S. illegally. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio. Ramy, good morning. Where does all of this leave relations between Washington and Seoul?
Errol, yeah, well, this is a low point right now in at least recent U.S.-South Korea relations. And really, relations are hugely important, we know, not just in politics, but also defense, vis-a-vis North Korea, vis-a-vis China, and also in business. For example, South Korea was the U.S.'s 6th biggest trading partner last year. And just over the summer in July, Seoul actually pledged to invest $350 billion in the U.S. as part of a trade and tariff deal. So this is definitely putting ties into a spin. And as those some 300 South Koreans wait for that charter flight to go home, South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung has weighed in. He said he feels what he calls a great responsibility for these people. Some who we can see there were shackled, and he called American treatment of them an unfair infringement of our people and our corporate activities. Now, after that ICE raid at that Hyundai plant, DHS said that this was the biggest single site enforcement action in the history of the department. The allegation here, if you want to break it down, is that workers overstayed their visas. Some were called ESTAs. These allow business visas, business visits up to 90 days, where some were on visits that didn't allow them to actually do manual labor. Those are called B1 business visas. And I spoke to the president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Seoul. His name is James Kim, and he said that people in South Korea are not happy.
And the sentiment is obviously very, very negative. In fact, in my office, I usually have my TV turned on with the news. And this is obviously covered from morning to evening constantly. But everyone who I speak to, they view America as its #1 partner here from South Korea. Yeah, we're going to have some challenging times like anyone has. If you're married, you know what you're talking about.
And he also called that a blip and pointed out that in the past couple of years, South Korea became America's #1 foreign direct investor. He's optimistic, though, that Washington and Seoul will get through this. And he says, basically pointing out that marriage metaphor, he says they have to be.
That's fascinating, Remy. So where do things go from here?
Yeah, well, reaction from President Trump, admittedly, could be harsher the way things might go, right? But it appears that he's trying to leave at least some kind of opening for a mea culpa from South Korea. For example, on Truth Social, he sent out a message, basically not just to South Korea, but to all foreign companies operating in the United States. He said things like, your investments are welcome. He also said, we encourage you to legally bring your, what he said, very smart people. But James Kim, again, with AmCham in South Korea, said the same.
I would say my key message is listen to what President Trump said today. He wants to encourage more foreign companies to invest in America. Bring your people, bring your resources into America, but do it legally.
Yeah, do it legally there. And in a nod to the notion, at least, that the U.S. needs foreign expertise coming from President Trump, he said that foreigners should come to the U.S. and then train American workers ultimately so they can actually do, the American workers can ultimately do the manufacturing themselves.
All right, Remy Inocencio.
Okay, now let's listen to the response of the people.
Her racism caused a $4.5 billion mistakes. She called ISIS on all those Koreans who came to the Hyundai plant that Korea built in America to build cars, Hyundai cars. Her hatred cost a $4.5 or $4.8 billion fucked up. And you know what I love about Korea? Their leader, they send a plane to come get their people. They're like, oh, send our people back. The president of the United States is causing problems international where a lot of country, they will not want to do business with United States.
Karens don't call the manager anymore, they call ICE. And in Georgia, that phone call shut down a whole plant. So over the weekend, ICE raided the Hyundai plant in Georgia. And you know who set it off? A woman named Tori Branum. Yeah, Tori picked up the phone and called ICE like she was reporting noise in the neighborhood to the HOA president. But no, she was reporting workers. And here's the kicker. She's running for Congress as a Republican. Now, here's the part they don't really want you to know. Most of those workers from the raid were not undocumented. They were actually here legally through a government program. The government knew it, and Tori knew it too when she made the call. But still, ICE showed up anyway. Because see, let's be real. None of this is ever about legality. It's about making sure folks know they're not welcome. And that, you all, is the American-made truth. When Karens run out of neighbors to call on, they go call the feds. Because, see, Karens are American-born, bred, and raised. And their natural habitat is other people's business. So while Tori is out here weaponizing ICE as her campaign commercial, you need to understand the bigger picture. This is what happens when xenophobia isn't just tolerated, it's actually rewarded. The system doesn't need you to be guilty of anything. All it takes is one phone call from a wannabe congresswoman, and boom, lives flipped upside down. So Georgia residents, y'all better pay attention. Because if this is what Tori does as a resident Karen, imagine what she'll do with a seat in Congress. Karens don't call the manager anymore.
They on her head this morning. This nutty lady went to bed last night thinking she had did her big one in Georgia. But Twitter is reminding her ass. They threatening this lady. And Tori is rattled for sure.
The only people that are mad about this raid in Elabelle, Georgia at the Hyundai Mega site are probably people that don't pay taxes. Because in 2022, when they signed the agreement to bring that plant here and build it, they were given $32 million in tax breaks to employ Georgians. And they didn't. The Georgians never were hired temp to permanent. They had more of the people apprehended yesterday were Korean. They either were here illegally, overstayed their visas, or it was illegals working for the contractors and on the site. So they got all these tax cuts and never created jobs for Georgians. They get EPA tax cuts, never had any plans for well infrastructure or water. So the water they're using is in turn drying up farmers' wells. And all these surrounding counties are like, well, we have money put back in case we need to put in new wells. Well, who does that fall back on? The taxpayers. And how many cattle or crop have to die before they get it put in if they have to go in and put in those backup wells? It's not benefiting Georgians. And if you're a taxpayer, it should piss you off. You shouldn't be defending it.
She trying to smile through the pain, but went to bed last night full of racism and woke up. I love it.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai Mega Plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked. They send money home to their country.
You didn't save them anything. You got 475 people arrested and thrown into detention. You made their lives infinitely worse. Before I continue, if any of this matters to you, like and follow. Let's call this what it is. It's a textbook white savior complex. You talk about modern day slavery because it lets you play the hero. But if you actually care about exploitation, you know that actions like yours never punish the people at the top. Hyundai made it very clear. None of the detained workers were their direct employees. They were all hired through subcontractors. So when you call ICE, you didn't get the multi-billion-dollar corporation in trouble. You got their victims punished. You targeted the people trying to find a better job than they could get back home. Why not go after the companies that profit from this system? Because that's hard work. Calling ICE on the vulnerable, it's easy. You claim you were saving them. Saving them from what? A bad job? Now, thanks to you, they're in an ICE detention facility facing deportation. You didn't end their exploitation. You just made the US government final exploiter. You aren't a hero. You're just a tool that powerful people use to clean up their messes.
I don't think William Tecumseh Sherman did as much damage to the state of Georgia as that woman who called ICE on Hyundai and their employees, had them all detained, and now South Korea is throwing a massive fit. They sent their own citizens down to train Americans so that they could be fully functional in this factory. Trump and Maga complain all the time. Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs are overseas? Bring them back to America. And then when we finally do, some dumbass, bitch-ass idiot calls ICE and has these people detained. Now South Korea has sent a plane, picked up all their asses, and who knows if they're ever coming back. This is going to take 8,000 plus jobs away from the state of Georgia, and possibly many more, and all this manufacturing that they would have had, all the money this would have generated for the state of Georgia and our country is now potentially gone, and that may just be that little portion. There could be more significant backlash coming from South Korea, Hyundai, any other South Korean company who was thinking of bringing jobs over to America is going to think twice now because some idiot decided to call ICE. They decided to call ICE on these people and have 400 plus human beings who have done nothing illegal detained. Good job. And this woman is running, I believe, for Congress. Yeah, have fun with that. Republican, Democrat, whatever. I can't imagine anybody in the state of Georgia is on board with what that foolish person did. So, yeah, Sherman may have burned his way to Atlanta, but you set Georgia ablaze as well.
Hyundai? Yeah, so you dense, dumb, and stupid. For you to sit up here and admit that you called ICE, causing a raid for Hyundai to lose over $1 billion, stop operation, and prevent a whole bunch of people of getting new jobs. You are so proud of yourself that you are responsible for almost 500 people getting deported that were sent here to bring jobs to Georgia. It was your blatant racism, but you're trying to justify it saying that it was slave labor and that they were getting paid a low wage. Ma'am, you don't care about those people. You do not care about those people. You did not want these people in your country. And you're so slow that you did not understand why they were over here, you numb nut. I'm trying to calm down, but I get so tired of you people. Yeah, you people, you know the terminology y'all like to use. I'm so tired of y'all with this savior complex, thinking that y'all have to be the hero in every scenario with a situation that has nothing to do with you. And I just got to get this off of my chest. May the odds never be in your favor. I hope every time you get up in the middle of the night, you hit your pinky toe on the side of the bed. I hope bed bugs eat your ass up every night. And yeah, that Congress seat that you think that you have in the bag that you're going to win, may you lose it. May you have the life you absolutely deserve.
You won't believe this. A Maga congressional candidate, Tori Branum, just triggered one of the largest ICE raids in U.S. history. And get this, she went after legal visa workers at Hyundai's brand new $7 billion Georgia plant. The result, over 8,000 jobs were completely wiped out. Entire families lost their livelihoods. Why? Because Branum assumed South Korean H-1B visa workers were illegal. Now, South Korea is outraged, obviously. Billions in foreign investments are suddenly on hold, and Georgia's massive new auto industry project hanging on by a thread. All of this chaos because one MAGA candidate couldn't tell the difference between a legal visa holder and an undocumented immigrant. This isn't just ignorance, this is recklessness that cost thousands of jobs and is damaging America's international reputation. Sad part is coming from a MAGA, you actually can believe it.
I will be bringing you more stories like this one. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, hitting that notification bell, setting it to all so you'll be notified anytime I go live, upload, or premiere. Please be kind to one another. Unapologetically Mika, out.